celebrating 48 years on the air. Award-winning Farmweek is a production of Mississippi State University Extension.
Today on Farmweek, another bird flu update. The virus still on the move. In Southern Gardening, a doubleheader, Snaptastic Snapdragons, and an encore look at non-traditional poinsettias. In our main feature, we pay tribute to two Mississippians in the National 4-H Hall of Fame. And talk about decorating for Christmas. Take a look at this. All that and more on Farmweek right now.
Hello everyone, I'm Zach Ashmore.
And I'm Mike Russell. Thanks for being with us again here on Farm Week. Merry Christmas. Once again, authorities on every level keeping an eye on bird flu, which has been percolating in poultry herds for years, but has jumped to dairy cattle in dozens of states. The USDA stepping up testing. Peter Tubbs has more.
This week, the H5N1 avian flu virus continued to disrupt agriculture across the country. The virus was detected in 3 different poultry flocks in northwest Iowa. 2 flocks of layers had confirmed infections, and a commercial flock of turkeys was also found to have been infected. Over 4 million birds were destroyed. The U.S. Department of Agriculture announced the beginning of a milk testing program nationally to determine how widespread avian flu has become in the country's dairy herd. The testing of bulk milk tanks on farms will begin in 6 states, but will eventually be national. While the USDA tracks confirmed infections, it does not report the individual farms or even the counties where infections are found. Part of the concern about the H5N1 virus is the potential for it to mutate into a variant that can easily spread to humans. Scientists at Scripps Research reported this week that a key change to the protein structure on the surface of the virus would allow it to easily infect human respiratory systems. There have been 58 confirmed cases of avian flu in humans in the United States this year, mostly among farm workers or poultry cullers. There have been no fatalities.
On the lighter side, a Southern Gardening double header for you this week. To begin, a colorful plant that actually prefers the cooler temps of this time of year, the snapdragon. Eddie Smith is in southern Mississippi with more.
Today, Southern Gardening is at the Flower Bed Nursery in Lumberton, Mississippi, admiring some beautiful Snaptastic Snapdragons. Annual snapdragons love the cold fall, winter, and spring weather and come in a wide array of colors. Their colorful flower spikes are sure to brighten up any landscape. Snaptastic red snapdragons are an absolute marvel to behold. These gorgeous plants flaunt a vibrant, eye-catching appearance, thanks to their deep red petals that form the perfect contrast with their yellow centers. Snaptastic yellow snapdragons will definitely catch the eye of anyone who passes by with their bright yellow flower petals. The intense yellow color stands out against the backdrop of dark green foliage. Snaptastic pink snapdragons boast delicate pink flowers with yellow centers. The contrasting yellow centers adds to the beauty of these gorgeous plants. My absolute favorite Snaptastic Snapdragon is Orange Flame. Snaptastic Orange Flame has a fiery burst of orange flowers, each one edged with a bright yellow flame of color. It truly is a stunning sight to see. All of these snapdragons usually grow up to 12 to 18 inches high and thrive in areas that receive full sun to partial shade. They are all incredibly easy to care for, making them a low-maintenance option for gardeners of all skill levels. Whether you are trying to add a pop of color to your landscape or a unique focal point, Snaptastic Snapdragons are the perfect choice. I'm Eddie Smith, and I will see you next time on Southern Gardening.
And on the back nine, last week's story on non-traditional poinsettias was popular, so here's an encore before the big day. Poinsettias are well known as the plant of choice for the Christmas holiday, of course, but not everyone knows there are other colors besides this deep red. Here's Eddie Smith once again with a few other possibilities this season.
Today's Southern Gardening is at the MSU South Mississippi Branch Experiment Station in Poplarville, Mississippi. This year, there are 60 different varieties of red, white, and non-traditionally colored poinsettias growing at the station. Let's look at some of the non-traditionally colored poinsettias. Orange Glow has bracts, the colorful leaf-like structures that people often mistake for flowers, displaying a striking, warm orange hue with hints of coral or peach, creating a lively, sunlit effect that stands out among holiday decorations. Christmas Beauty Pink Poinsettia is a charming and delicate twist on the traditional holiday plant, featuring soft pastel pink bracts that add a gentle pop of color. Its pink bracts often have subtle colored veining, giving them a layered, almost watercolor-like effect that enhances the plant's visual appeal. The lighter pink hue contrasts gracefully with the poinsettia's dark green foliage, creating a beautiful blend of colors that's perfect for a softer holiday look. One of my favorites, Autumn Leaves, is a beautiful and unconventional variety, known for its warm, earthy tones that invoke the colors of fall. Its bracts range from soft peach to a rich amber, and even hints of apricot, creating a gradient effect reminiscent of autumn foliage. Some bracts may also display subtle hints of pink or coral, adding depth and dimension to the plant's overall appearance. Look for these and other gorgeous poinsettias at your local garden center this holiday season. I'm Eddie Smith, and I look forward to seeing you next time on Southern Gardening.
We'll take a break right here, but don't go away. Coming up in our Farm Week feature, a special 4-H celebration from Jackson. The Mississippi Ag Museum, where a unique celebration was held, the honoring of 2 Mississippi men inducted into the National 4-H Hall of Fame. One of them has since passed away, but both were key 4-H leaders and mentors, 2 of just 8 Mississippians in the entire history of that Hall of Fame. Jonah Holland reports for Farm Week. Join us for this amazing story coming up.
I believe in people and their hopes, their aspirations and their faith. I believe in my own work and in the opportunity I have to make my life useful to humanity. I believe that education is a lifelong process, and the greatest university is the home. That my success as a teacher is proportional to those qualities of mind and spirit that give me welcome entrance to the homes of the families that I serve. Because I believe these things, I am an extension professional.
I believe in people and their hopes, their aspirations and their faith. I believed that education, of which extension work is an essential part, is basic in stimulating individual initiative, self-determination, and leadership. I believe that these are the keys to democracy and that people, when given facts they understand, will act not only in their self-interest but also in the interest of society. I believe in intellectual freedom to search for and present the truth without bias and with courteous tolerance towards the views of others. Because I believe these things, I am an extension professional.
Time for the market report. A good bit to get through this week.
That's right. We got the latest WASDE. Prices are on the downswing, and we're going to get an update on farm income, and we'll get into all of it. But first, the numbers. What were the week's biggest gains and losses? And then, this month's WASDE report. What were the biggest takeaways? And finally, we talk with economist Dr. Kevin Kim about how the economic landscape looks for ag right now. So, markets closed the week going down, all commodities affected. Let's take a look. The week's biggest gain, live cattle up about 6 cents, a near 3.25% increase from the previous week. The week's biggest loss, lumber, down 29.5 bucks, an over 5% decrease from the previous week. So, this month's WASDE report dropped and appeared to make some waves. Economists talking mostly about row crop adjustments, especially stocks. Here's Bella Bingham with a quick overview.
In row crops, U.S. corn used for ethanol increased 50 million bushels, exports raised 150 million bushels, and ending stocks down 200 million bushels. Global corn production down while stocks also down nearly 8 million tons. U.S. soybeans mostly unchanged, but global soybean production is slightly higher by about 1 million tons. U.S. wheat exports up 15 million bushels, while supplies down 20 million bushels. Global supplies and production down slightly, while ending stocks up slightly. In livestock, beef, broiler, and turkey production is up, while pork and egg production down. Milk production also up, while cheese and butter prices lowered. Whey prices up, while non-fat dry milk prices unchanged.
Now we dive into the meat and potatoes of the farming business. The economic side of the profession is one of the most important, if not tedious, parts of being a producer. To help make sense of the current economic landscape, I spoke with Dr. Kevin Kim of Mississippi State University to get his thoughts on what's going on.
For the U.S. ag sector, we are still expecting a decrease in the farm income level, but compared to what was anticipated earlier this year, the magnitude of the drop in the farm revenue is now expected to be less severe than the previous prediction. However, there's a caveat because for the livestock producers, actually this year looks pretty good because we are expecting an increase in the revenue base, but for other producers, we are actually expecting a greater decrease in the farm revenue and income compared to what we initially anticipated.
Well, which groups are expected to face challenges?
So here we are talking about corn, soybean, and cotton producers. When we look at the price as of October 2024, the price for these three crops have decreased between 17 to 25%. And it is expected that this will be translated into 10 to 20% reduction in the revenue base. So it is now estimated that the input cost for this year will decrease slightly compared to the previous year. We are talking about 1 to 3% decrease. So what we have to remember is that the farm production expense increased so much since COVID-19. So this tiny annual decrease in input cost will not have any meaningful impact on the farm profitability of these producers who will face some challenges this year.
So all these challenges that we're bringing up, and based on that information, are there any developments on the state or federal level to help these producers?
At late October, Trent Kelly, representative of Mississippi, has introduced the Farm Assistance and Revenue Mitigation Act of 2024. The goal of this act is to provide one-time emergency assistance payment to affected producers and cover. It has been estimated that this act will cost about $20 billion from the federal spending. So for some lawmakers, this seems way too pricey. So we'll have to sit and wait how this conversation goes at DC.
Last time you were here, you talked a good bit about farm loan interest rates. And has there been any development since then? Has the interest rate gone down?
Yes, so fortunately for us, the inflation has started to cool down finally. And accordingly, starting from September, the Fed started to perform some interest rate cut. So this has also translated into a reduction in farm loan interest rates. When we look at the operating loans and the intermediate loan interest rates, we are seeing some numbers between 8 to 8.5%. If you compare these numbers to the interest rates charged in the previous year, overall, we are seeing about 0.1% to 0.3% decrease in the interest rates. And it has been predicted that the Fed will perform a further interest rate cut in 2025. So we will probably see additional decrease in the interest rates. However, there's been a growing concern over the newly proposed tariff on the goods imported to the United States. So if this indeed happens, then the Fed will be a little bit slower in reducing the interest rates. So we'll have to wait and see how this tariff and its manifestation in the economy really takes place.
Dr. Kim's advice for farmers is to keep a tight lock on your financial records, keep them up to date and detailed so you know exactly what you have. He also added, if you see any further interest rate cuts, you can renegotiate your existing loans and refinance them. And that's it for a deeper look into the markets. Mike?
Thanks, Zach. And now a special feature here on Farm Week, and the fact that it comes during the Christmas season makes it that much more special. If you grew up on a farm or ranch, or even if you didn't, you probably know that 4-H plays a monumental role in the lives of many young people here in Mississippi and around the nation as well. But the adults who supervise and mentor them help make that experience even more special in so many ways. You may know there's a National 4-H Hall of Fame. And as it so happens, 2 Mississippians have been inducted. But there's more to that story. And here with that, making his return to Farm Week is Jonah Holland, himself a longtime veteran of 4-H. As it also turns out, he worked closely with both men now permanently enshrined in that Hall of Fame. Jonah?
Thanks very much, Mike. And yes, 4-H has played a huge role in my life, so when I had the opportunity to do this story, I jumped at the chance. The 2 Mississippians who are now and will forever be a part of the National 4-H Hall of Fame are men I knew very well, Dr. Larry Alexander and Mr. Harvey Gordon. I'm sorry to say that Mr. Gordon has passed away unexpectedly in 2021, but the ceremony honoring both men that took place recently was the first of its kind in Mississippi, and it was an extraordinary and solemn experience for everyone involved. There's no question 4-H plays a formative and enduring role in the lives of so many young people. And it is also safe to say that the 4-H experience, almost always a decade long for them, is made more fun, more complete, and more rewarding forever through the efforts of their adult advisors and mentors. That's certainly true for me, and why the Hall of Fame ceremony meant so much. Harvey Gordon's widow, Ruby Gordon, exemplified the reason with one short tribute.
Trailblazer, always a trailblazer.
Harvey Gordon was from Leland in Washington County, Mississippi. He worked as a 4-H state specialist for Mississippi State University Extension from 1997 until his retirement in 2014. He's no longer with us, but he's described as both a premier leader and a warm, welcoming friend. Those who knew him say that in his 38-year extension career in Arkansas and Mississippi, he saw the struggles of people and wanted to help them become better. Today's ceremony meant so much to Miss Ruby.
It brought back so many memories of him getting up early, staying up late, and really pressing to make sure that the young people that he was involved with were fully equipped for life, not just for today, but for tomorrow. And he always focused on their development. And that meant the world to my children and to myself. The big missing piece is that he is not here, but his children will always, and grandchildren will always, just persevere and try to remember who he was as a trailblazer for 4-H.
Harry Dendy, himself inducted into the National 4-H Hall of Fame in 2011, was on hand for the ceremony. He knew Harvey well.
He was always there. He was always smiling. He was always happy to help. He was just everything you could possibly want or imagine in a 4-H supporter.
So was Linda Mitchell, Extension 4-H coordinator who retired recently with more than 30 years experience. Like many, she wore a lot of hats in 4-H. She spoke highly of Harvey.
Harvey was the man. I mean, you know, every time you saw him, he had a big smile on his face. He was one of the most encouraging people I have ever known. And he did that for everybody, for the young people, for the co-workers, for strangers who didn't even know. You always knew that if you saw Harvey, he was going to be smiling and he was going to be encouraging you to be your best.
Dr. Larry Alexander is from Ruralville, Mississippi. After he graduated from Alcorn State University, he became an integral part of the leadership and development of 4-H, always applying his ability to improve the lives of young, and even the not-so-young, across the state. For him, today's ceremony was a pivotal moment.
After working in 4-H and Extension for over 38 years, and to be inducted into the National 4-H Hall of Fame really says something about the work that I've done during my career. And a lot of times when we work in 4-H, a lot of times we don't see the value in what we do. We just say it's a routine. But then somebody saw enough to nominate me, and then I was successful in being inducted into the Hall of Fame. Makes you feel really good.
Larry was an employee of the university. A lot of us that worked with him referred to him as Mr. 4-H. Because anytime you needed anything out of the 4-H extension work, Larry was the go-to guy. And just really happy to be associated with him and happy to be a part of establishing the endowment scholarship in his name and in his honor. So that was a great thing for him and for those of us that supported him.
And he's a saint. I mean, he has the biggest heart, and he was always there for everybody who needed him. He was always competent and available. No matter what the time was, he was ready to help.
Needless to say, the reason why there's a National 4-H Hall of Fame is that 4-H is such an essential experience. In Mississippi, it's highly connected to MSU Extension, and Extension's new director, Angus Catshaw, explains why it's such a huge endeavor.
We have about 70,000 youth in the state of Mississippi that's actively involved in 4-H. That's about 14% of all school-age kids in the state of Mississippi, so we have a huge footprint. One of the great things about 4-H is really we are contributing to workforce development. We have kids that come through these programs that are learning leadership skills, they're learning how to be productive citizens, they're learning how to raise livestock, to take responsibility, and it's so much bigger than livestock, but we have every area that you can possibly imagine, from engineering, robotics, leadership. These children, when you meet them and they're coming through the 4-H program, it's amazing the level of maturity they have, the way that they can speak to people, and we are literally contributing to more productive citizens across the state. So it's a wonderful organization, and we're all behind it, and we're trying to grow it as much as we can.
Angus Catshaw is right. 4-H is a wonderful organization. It has a rich history, and it has benefited so many young people over the years, myself included. And if Angus and his team at MSU Extension have anything to say about it, 4-H in Mississippi will continue to grow, and the state itself will benefit in a lot of ways. Workforce development, maturity, creativity, innovation, you name it.
Great story, Jonah. We're so proud of Dr. Alexander and Mr. Gordon, amazing leaders, and we're glad to have you back working with us from time to time. Well, next week is Christmas week, and we have one of our feature shows lined up for you. So on next week's show, a sequel. We have visited the Worthy Christmas Tree Farm in Amory, a look back. Now Zach flashes forward with another trip back to the farm. Before you can decorate it, light it up, or stash presents under it, you've got to find your Christmas tree. Zach heads back to Amory, and just like before, boy, are those beauties worthy. Go behind the scenes where traditions are still being born. That's next time here on Farm Week. And before we go, want to get even more into the holiday spirit? This is a must-see if you live in North Dakota. A family in Blanchard, in the eastern part of the state, has turned their home into a massive Christmas display. There are plenty of Christmas ornaments, holiday trinkets, and of course a Christmas tree inside the house. This home once stood as a schoolhouse built more than a century ago. One of the owners, Linda Johnson, has decorated the home she shares with her husband. Johnson comes from a big family, 10 brothers and sisters, and she enjoys transforming her home into a winter wonderland for her family to enjoy.
I have 10 brothers and sisters, and when we can get together anytime, and especially in the big house that we have, I love it. And I love to pass this on to generations down below and stuff to where they might want to decorate for Christmas.
And I thought my wife decorated a lot. Anyway, also before we go, we wanted to take a moment to wish you a very Merry Christmas, and for our Jewish brothers and sisters, a Happy Hanukkah. However you celebrate here at Farm Week, we wish you all the best. We look forward to being with you in 2025 and beyond.
All of you in agriculture, whatever hat you wear, we look forward to serving you, whether you live right here in the beautiful state of Mississippi or anywhere else in this great nation of ours.
These are the moments that mean so much, and we hope you have the chance to spend the holidays with your family no matter where they are.
May your holidays be filled with laughter, love, and light.
From all of our families to all of yours, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
As always, remember, if you missed a story, look for past episodes of Farm Week on our website at farmweek.tv.
And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. We'll see you next week. Thank you for watching.